I'm Julie Banderas, and you're in the strategy room. Bobby Jindal's decision to drop out of the 2016 race adds to the list of yet other or current former GOP governors who decided they just couldn't win. Jindal joins Rick Perry of Texas and Scott Walker of Wisconsin as candidates who just didn't gain traction with primary voters. So is this primary season shaping up to be a tough year for Republican governors? Here with reaction are Ellen Ratner with Talk Radio News Service and Ron Bonjean from Rock Solutions. Welcome to you both. All right, so
thank you.
Ron, let me first start with you. Do GOP governors have a chance in this election cycle? Because here we have these governors who have dropped out, and if you look at the current governors that are still in the race, their numbers are not looking good. Chris Christie, although he does great in these debates, just doesn't seem to have the poll numbers behind him.
Well, look, I think this is the time for the outsiders right now. You have Donald Trump and Ben Carson that are still leading. At the same time, I mean, I'd have to say that there are other reasons. I mean, that these governors have dropped out. Scott Walker's finances just simply dried up. Rick Perry had a big 2012 problem. And Bobby Jindal never even had a chance. I mean, he's been down in the polls consistently. The only way I can see Chris Christie, one of the ways I can see Chris Christie rising up in the polls is due to the recent national security and ISIS situations that we're dealing with right now, the attacks in Paris, and what to do. Those types of things can help project, the outsider status, the insider status
right.
Can add more seriousness to them. Same thing with Jeb Bush.
I'm glad you brought that up. And Ellen, he talks about the ISIS situation. We've also been talking a lot about the Syrian refugees. And Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey has essentially said that he doesn't want refugees to be brought to New Jersey, not because he has anything against those families, but because he doesn't trust the vetting system. While you have Connecticut and New York in support of it. So I think this is a time for Chris Christie to shine, is it not?
It may be, but let's also look at the overall governor issue, where you have Governor Kasich from my great state of Ohio, who has done a good job in Ohio, but he has been painted by Donald Trump as, the only reason he's made a success of Ohio is because of fracking. So you have local governors that are very popular. Chris Christie, pretty popular. We have John Kasich in Ohio, extremely popular, even with some Democrats. And they're not making it on the national scene because somehow it is, as Ron said, an outsider year, but it's also something that people consider very local.
We talk about it being an outsider year. Ron, you brought up the fact that, Ben Carson is an outsider, although lately when it comes to foreign policy, there have been a couple hiccups in his campaign people believe might hurt him. I think outsiders were great until ISIS hit Paris, and now I think a lot of people are looking toward experience. Do you think that this will continue as we get closer to the first states voting, in that the outsiders are going to be preferred rather than somebody who's an insider and who has foreign policy experience?
Look, I think that if the ISIS attacks spread, or we're still dealing with the Syrian refugee issue, Carson is on the weaker side of that. He doesn't really know how to talk about it. He's very uncomfortable discussing these issues. The anomaly here is Donald Trump. By using the words, by saying hell no, and we're going to, I'll use a different word, beat the crap out of ISIS or bomb the crap out of ISIS,
or
so to
close
speak.
all
That's
the mosques
resonating
in the country.
Right. That will definitely resonate, and is definitely resonating with voters right now. But as the campaign gets as the world situation gets more serious, people get more serious about who their candidates are. And so I think that if, this really benefits people like Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Jeb Bush, who can talk a little bit better and more eloquently, let's put it this way, and put together plans regarding Syria and how to handle ISIS.
You've got about half of the current Republican field being former or current governors. What do you foresee? Which are the strongest among them that remain in the field? And do you think that their poll numbers stand a chance of rising with the current crisis that we're dealing with regarding ISIS? Ellen, I'll give you the final word.
Well, obviously Jeb Bush is there, and he was always the pick of the insiders in the party. So I think as a former governor, he will rise because he's also had experience. He's had two family members be in the presidency. I think he knows a lot, and he is the pick of the party.
All right, Ellen Ratner and Ron Bonjean, thank you both. We appreciate you coming on, and check out foxnews.com for more on the 2016 presidential election. I'm Julie Banderas. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.